And welcome back. So, I thought I'd do a video on useful things. A lot of people think that 3D printing is for purely ridiculous decorative junk, which, well, it is. But one example of, just stuff, little Vader, Buddha. But there's other things you could do. So here's a couple examples of that. For one, I use this every day. It is a soda can holder, but it's a nice little atom bomb. Keeps it kind of cold. This particular model was a little bit thin down here, so if you ever do go on Thingiverse and find it, it's called Can Bomb. Just watch out, it's real thin right here. I took acetone and kind of dribbled it in the bottom here so that it would fill up some of the seams and help, because this is ABS. Almost everything I make is ABS. And acetone's really good at bonding things back together if they break. It's also really thin. See that line? Because on the inside, this does snap onto the top of the lid, on the top of the can, but it's really thin between there and the outside, so this whole top will pop right off. So again, took acetone, put on the inside. I didn't even finish this. I didn't do anything to the outside. This is like, 0.2 layer height. My settings, it's literally called like medium. But I kind of like build lines. I had a couple of goobers here and there. This is one of the first things I ever printed. And then secondary useful thing, recently made this. This is ABS toothpaste squeezer tube roller thingy. I took acetone and just brushed it on the outside to shine it up, and it also kind of helps solidify the layers, so you get less of a chance of splitting. I did a review video on this stuff called Armadillo, but I only had a sample and I didn't have enough to print the whole thing. I would have rather made it out of this. This stuff's like bulletproof. That would have been so awesome. It's just cricking together, but it's not breaking. I've stood on this, bent it, taken a wrench and pliers and everything trying to break this stuff. It will not break. It's a little soft, a little bit. But maybe that's just because it's long and thin and I'm beating it. But I wish I had more of this. Oh my God, I wish I had more of that. Other useful thing is this. You can configure it multiple ways. This one's got a divider. This one's just single. And that one's just single. So, put all your goodies in there. And again, this is one of the first things I ever printed, so it printed like that. Drawers separate. So I got a couple of layering issues where there's a couple of cracks here and there, but it's not like I'm standing on this thing or doing anything. I don't really even look at it a whole lot. Other thing I can't recommend more than enough, filament clips. It's got that little hole in the top. You stick your filament in there and then clip this onto the side of your spool. You may have noticed that thing. No, not that thing. That thing. That's completely 3D printed. That took forever. Just a tool rack, specifically designed to stick on the side of my printer here. So, very handy. Again, this was one of the first things I ever printed. So, my problem that I have was like these things. These are for like needle nose pliers. This one, at least for these pliers, they kind of don't really. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see, sorry, but the back one holds those fine. It's real nice. I wish I, at the time, knew how to modify this and make it a little wider for it to hold all my, well, it would be my two primary go-to clippers and pliers, but I don't know how to modify that thing. And I had a hard time because it prints literally upright like this, and then supports, and then comes out. And these support arms, there's one here and one on the back, the support material shifted, and I ended up with like goobers and like a mountain of just wasted filament. So I literally just cut the arms off. Then I went into such and such a program, I don't remember what, and cut the arms off the model, whittled them down a bit, and then just acetoned them onto here after I printed them. So I just printed the two arms separate. Yeah, it looks a little bit hillbilly, but who cares? And other thing that's handy, if you look at my printer, all right, that's completely useless, but well, that's not completely, but that's like a little shroud that connects to my cable chain. Cable chain makes everything look a little nicer, and prior to having this, it was just this plastic conduit junk that was just kind of hanging there. And depending on how I fed the filament down to the machine, it would be on one side of that cable conduit or the other, and it just kind of, they didn't really wrap up, but I hated it. So I printed that. Pretty handy stuff. I also, if you ever get the opportunity to print spare parts for your printer, do so. I printed this, it's a herringbone gear. Man, that light is horrible back there. Hang on. And that's not much better. Oh, that's horrible too. Well, geez. Anyway, herringbone gear. So, without getting into a whole lot of engineering, you don't really need the herringbone design on there because there's not a whole lot of different torques on there. The herringbone design is pretty much like a self-aligning kind of a system, to make it short. I printed it because, well, I wanted to print something. And I put it on because I wanted to see if it worked. And I just left it there. I still got my original gears. If they need to be pulled back out of the box, I will. They're still fine. Perfectly fine. But they're the flat kind of gear, you know. They're just regular old gear. Figured I'd try it out, see what happens. I mean, again, that's ABS. The other semi-handy thing would be the fan shrouds that are down here. They point the air down at the nozzle. I had to modify them, though, because no matter what fan shrouds I tried from Thingiverse, they either didn't fit or... well, most of the time they didn't fit. But they were cooling off the nozzle. The whole thing was giving me a system failure because the nozzle was getting too cold from those things blowing on it. So I literally took a blowtorch to them, melted the plastic, and tried to aim them down a little bit. And then I got sick of it and stopped dealing with it. So, yeah, there's that. And then, other handy thing is feet. These I got off of Thingiverse. The original feet are these little rubber things. They're like that tall. And this whole printer sits like that high off of the table surface. And this is supposed to, you know, let more airflow in because there's vents underneath and stuff where it sucks in air and cools off the electronics and stuff. So I kept seeing a bunch of these, and I'm like, well, everybody's making them. I might as well print some and put them on. Except the cool thing about these are these use the original rubber feet. You could take the rubber feet and stick them in the bottom. There's a little cutout for them, so it's non-skid. Yeah, so those are good. I wish I could put links and stuff, but I don't even remember where on Thingiverse they were. Just go look. You know, they look like that. You know, so you see the picture. It's probably those. Very handy. The other thing is paper towel holder. Hard to see. No, my bad. Paper towel holder, very handy. The only problem is they don't hold really big honking rolls of paper towels. So don't get big honking rolls of paper towels. Also, my original spool holder for this thing was this. That's what came with it. And it clips on pretty much wherever you want. But it clips on like that, and then your spool goes on here, and it has to feed all the way up to the top and down and around. And to me, it seemed like it was just kind of a little too much friction there. You know, I wanted it to roll smoother, and I didn't want any binding at all possible. So I printed this. Actually, the first one I printed were these, which are fine, they work, but still you've got the friction area against the spool and the top of this. There's two. Close them in. So I decided to print with these. I just got roller skate bearings in there, and they just snap on. Click, click, and you're done. Works pretty good so far, unless you got a skinny little spool, then that's when I take these. I'll just kind of stick them up to it, so that, just in case, you know. Because once this carriage starts rocking, you might get some oscillation and that might knock off. I haven't had it happen, but I'm paranoid. And yeah, as far as I know, that's about it. I'm also going to include the camera mount after this segment. It's a tripod mount for your cell phone. It's made out of NinjaFlex. Pretty easy to print. The NinjaFlex didn't print so good, but that'll be coming up in about 2 seconds. Here's the phone holder. It's mounted to a tripod, and this is 3D printed. It's got this little pin. Slides up and down. Don't know if you can see that too good. No, you can't. These blue bits are NinjaFlex. They're a little squishy. It didn't really come out so great. That's supposed to be like a holding pin that it would just like kind of snap into the plastic top. It didn't come out very good, so I Gorilla Glued it. But that's what I've been starting to use just for anchoring my. I've been using my phone. As soon as I can save up for a camera, I will get a real camera. But for now, it holds it pretty good. You know, I mean, pretty steady. Works pretty good.